This is episode 2. You have myself, Kenny, Costa Rica, and
Mario.
Mario's late to the party. He's late to the party today.
Yeah,
and we have a guest host today, Patrona.
That is Jose's. Jose Cole.
Yes.
Patrona.
Yeah.
This is the Costa Rica Unfiltered podcast with your host, Kenny Costa Rica, with his fabulous guest hosts, Don Mario and Kimi Patrona.
This is episode number 2. I mean, we're just going to kind of continue on. We have the guest host here, Patrona Kimi, and we'll just start the conversation.
That's right.
I don't think we covered last time like how difficult it was to kind of leave and make our way to Costa Rica.
Well, especially for a young family.
Yeah,
I mean, it was scary.
Yeah.
Well,
when you're single and you're single, no kids. I mean, yeah, it's a little bit easier. You just come, do your thing, and
Show up, yeah.
Here we've got to look at schools. Obviously, the kids can't be out of school; they've got to do schooling, that kind of thing. Do you want to touch base on what we did when we came?
Well, it was a big jump, and Kenny is the one that pushed us to come to Costa Rica.
You just blame it on me.
somebody has to.
Somebody's
be.
got to take the
Somebody
blame.
has to do it, but he did his research. It was Turks and Caicos for a while, but I think it was expensive, right?
Yeah, a lot of researching on Turks. I mean, just what I got, it was more expensive. Was one thing. They did have one school that I was kind of looking at there, but again, there's not really much there. They've got some of the world's most beautiful beaches, which is what we love, going to the beach. But I mean, everything else, it's very small. Here, I mean, you don't like a lot of bugs and critters and stuff.
I'm in the wrong country.
Turks and Caicos is better for that. They don't have nearly as many things as we have here. So that was another thing. But I think it was just being in a place with a lot more going on, a lot more expats, that type of thing, because obviously it makes it easier if you're going to move down, right? Mm-hmm. They don't have that as big of an expat community in Turks. Although we do know somebody that had moved down from where we live to Turks and Caicos, and I think they're doing okay.
Yeah, but you also did your research and searched YouTube forever and ever.
Yeah, there's hours and hours on YouTube and just searching people that have moved there and connecting with people, and even here, like doing interviews with what do you call those companies like that help you come in and like
expats.
Yeah, like expat communities that just they help you make the move or the transition into the country. We've talked to people like that, so we knew a lot coming here before we came, which is a good thing. I mean, that's I think why people are watching this podcast, is just to learn as much as possible. Yeah,
and as much research you do, you're never prepared. You're never prepared to what you're going to experience, what you're going to feel. The amount of times that we were so scared just driving around the country when we first got here, and was like, what are we doing? We have no idea where we are. We're driving through these little towns, don't know the language really well, and
yeah, just nuts. I remember the first time, I don't know if I ever told you the story, Mario, the first time we came here. No, was it the first time we came to Samara?
Yeah, because we flew into San Jose.
Yeah, and we did a rental car.
That's
so yeah,
right.
we flew into San Jose. We got the rental car. We stayed in San Jose one night because we flew in late.
That's right.
So we just wanted to stay close because our first time in Costa Rica. Stayed.
We stayed at the Hotel Kari Kari, and it was beautiful.
Beautiful hotel, Hotel Kari Kari. So we stayed there.
It's Kariari.
Kariari. We got the rental car the next morning. And then, we started driving, and we were coming down to Samara. And I think from the airport, it's like 3.5 hours or 4 hours. No, longer, right, babe?
Where?
From the airport to Samara. I think it was like...
It was long.
Yeah, it was long. It was like 5.5 hours.
Yeah, for sure.
So we're making this drive. The first time in Costa Rica, so we're passing all these little towns. And, we were talking about the pulperias the other day and the sodas. And, you know, when you come down here, and a lot of the houses you see as you're driving through these towns are like barbed wired up and all that, where it's a normal thing here. Like, that's just what you do. It's to, you know, security for your property. It's not like anything's crazy, but we're driving by and I'm like, what are we doing? I got my kids in the back seat, my wife in the front with me, and I'm thinking, what the heck? What did I get myself into here, man, driving through this country? Like, just nervous. Literally stopped over at a little pulperia, bought 2 beers, pounded them super fast, and I was cool as a cucumber.
That is what alcohol does.
Man, I turned the music on, and away we went. And from there on in, everything was perfect. We made it down to Samara. It was fantastic. I mean, it's a little bit smaller of a town than here, but I loved it. I thought it was super cool. We stayed at some really nice places there.
It's a tendency to arrive at the airport and see the visitors heading toward the Pacific, even though Costa Rica has, you know, Atlantic and the west and Pacific in the east. But most people can spend years in Costa Rica without visiting the Atlantic side.
Yeah,
I'm not talking about development per se. Well,
just visiting. We haven't been there yet, so I mean,
yes,
that's one spot we haven't gone to. So.
Yeah, I guess the majority of the expat community is in the Pacific side of Costa Rica, from the Panama side all the way to the Nicaragua side. That is where we are at, right?
Now, Mario, do you think that could be because when people come here, they're already kind of researching where they want to stay, and maybe there's more hotels on this end? Because that is the Caribbean. Why wouldn't people want to go to the Caribbean side, right?
For my experience as Costa Rican, I noticed that the Atlantic side is more attractive to Europeans, visitors, you know, like a Dutch, French, Swiss people, Germans. And you find them, in good number there. But this side, at least Guanacaste, where we at, is more north, you know, like a USA, Canada visitors, you know, to a point that it's specific areas where you can find only Canadians and other areas only Americans.
We didn't come here searching for only Canadians. We just came and searched this. And you know what? I don't know. I think it was because most of the research I found online was from this side. That's maybe why we came down this way. I had a friend that lives here. She still lives here, and she was here for, I think, 3 years before we came down. And, you know, that obviously, knowing somebody in the area, where are they? This area came up, and then I've never found anything on the Caribbean side, like a lot of research on YouTube and on online about that stuff, right?
It's mostly a few important towns, you know, like Cahuita, Cocles, Puerto Viejo. Those are the main beachy towns that are still undergoing development to become cities, if I may say it. You know, we're still small towns, but extremely touristic. They are not for you to find. I'm not sure today, but it will be hard to find the selection of schools that you guys have in this area, or meaningful clinics, or supermarkets and stuff like that.
And that could be one of the reasons why there's not a lot of stuff there, right? Like, everybody I know that has went there, even people that live here and that have went there, they're like, you have to go check it out. The beaches are absolutely stunning there. We haven't had the chance to go yet.
I think too that most people, well, families, and it could be the mom or the dad, really think about their kids, of what is going to make it with the least transition, right? For schooling, for groceries, for just safety, for security, all of those things play in your mind before you decide. It's different when you're on vacation. You're on vacation, you might go to an all-inclusive, and that's it. You feel comfortable, you get dropped off, and some people don't even leave the resort. And we have all-inclusive here, and we love to go visit those. But
they're fun.
Traveling the country on your own and trying to settle down and figure out a place to settle down makes a huge difference of where you are and what is around for accessibility.
And it's important to remember that the government has done a lot of work to sell us, the Costa Rican citizens, the openness to the foreign community. I mean, we welcome foreign community. It's been there for, I mean, that's been the MO for a long time.
Yeah,
you
I
know.
mean, the amount of expats that I know that are here, it's absolutely crazy how many are here, right?
Right. But you have a tendency to see that the Costa Ricans in general, they're okay with welcoming you. I mean, it's not a country that is repelling foreign communities like other big countries in Latin America. You know, we all have political issues with Canada, or political issues with USA in order to create animosity.
Yeah, no, it's an open.
It's more like a thank you for coming, thank you for choosing us. You know, and we're gonna do the best to welcome you here.
And that's why I feel like Kim was saying about the families, like. You know, a lot of backpackers and stuff we see, it's, you know, younger people, single, like we see people here traveling by themselves. And they do that in all kinds of different countries where we kind of look at them like, man, that's, you know, that takes balls to be able to just put your backpack on, walk through towns you don't know.
Yes.
Now, add kids into the mix and be like, we're moving to a country that, you know, we don't know much about. We did as much research as we can, and then you come here. But like I said, I feel like having this expat community here makes it a lot better. I mean, not that I've got a ton of Costa Rican friends. I love the Costa Rican people. It's just having the expats to talk to, like they have the same transition problems we have. Like, you know, getting things that maybe we can't get here that we could get back home. How do we kind of navigate around that? Or schooling, like, you know.
But that took time too. When we first arrived, we really didn't have a plan. We rented an Airbnb. Rented an Airbnb. We booked a hotel 3 days later. Booked different Airbnbs. We probably stayed at 11 Airbnbs.
Yeah, we stayed a lot.
For the first time, just to kind of travel within Guanacaste and
check the area out.
You know, so that made a difference for us to and we didn't really have a network of expats that we knew yet. We kind of did our own thing. We traveled. When we went to Uvita and we spent some time there, we, you know, Googled it. What is the best thing to do in Uvita? What is the, you know, somewhere to stay? Or, you know, Google was your best friend of just trying to find certain things like restaurants and places to see and go. And so.
Yeah, I think I was telling Mario that last time too, like the conversation we're having where, you know, we like if we do decide that we want to go to like Puerto Viejo, you know, anywhere in the Caribbean side, all we're going to do is go online and Google some things in restaurants or places to stay, Airbnbs, and then you're there. You just kind of figure it out while you're there, right? I mean, here now, I know a lot of people that live in this area that are from the Caribbean side. So if we decide to go down there, it's like I can now ask them questions because we know them, right? So now we'll kind of have a conversation, and they'll be like, oh, go to this place or check this place out. And they may be maybe some cooler spots because they're more of local spots, and, you know, instead of just going there and staying away from the local things, these guys will help you out, right? So,
well, but it's also a distinction, as you guys may know, regarding the community, I mean the Costa Rican community, and the communities that are being developed to accommodate the expats, you know, families.
This is like the ones we were talking about here, like the bigger communities, the bigger.
Right, because that mingling, you know, can be a little distress. If you're coming without the Spanish or the knowledge of the language, meaning that by insert yourself in an expat community, things start getting a little easier. You know, dealing with your neighbors.
Yeah, definitely.
Dealing with people that either they were there before you or they are in the same position you are.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
I mean, I know families that came and went to Providence, like Heredia, and just bought a house in the middle of a Costa Rican neighborhood.
With not a lot of expats.
You know, and it was kind of interesting to talk to them because they are, I mean, submerging themselves directly to the Costa Rican experience without really knowing the language, without knowing the culture per se.
Yeah, like thinking about that, like that would be tough. Like moving somewhere, especially if you don't know the language, and just dropping yourself in the middle with like a place where a lot of people don't speak the language. Again, maybe that's why this area, it was a tourist area, right? Like we know Tamarindo is one of the biggest surf beaches, or the biggest surf beaches, one of the most popular surf beaches, I should say, in Costa Rica. I mean, a lot of people, even Costa Ricans, speak English because they have to deal with tourists. So it makes it an easier transition. Where now we're learning Spanish, so I mean.
But became different, right, Kim? Because now you're not a tourist anymore.
No.
Or at least that's not the field that you would like to,
For the first little while, you definitely still feel like a tourist, like this is not real. And, because you don't, and it goes back to why did we leave? Because our lives were completely different back home. Like, we couldn't go to the beach and just watch sunset, those are things that's culturally what people do here, is people stop and slow down and go watch a sunset, or if someone's taking, that is the transition. And a lot of people choose to come to countries like this to slow down. And it's going to be a culture shock because, you're going to move in beside a local family, but that is why you're here, is not to have the same things as back home, and live a different life, and just enjoy the journey.
Yeah. I think one of the biggest things is, like you were saying about slowing down and learning how to slow down. I think that's one of the more stressful things. Like, even for us, like slowing down, it's like you're always thinking like, man, we're supposed to be doing something. We're supposed to be,
Absolutely.
and it's like, no, we're not. Like, it's okay to
not to do anything.
Yeah, it's okay to slow
It's
down.
really hard.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, it's okay to slow down and take it easy. It is what it is.
no,
But it is easier said than done.
Oh, no,
to do that
definitely.
when you live. Well, again, we lived a very, very busy life.
Yeah.
I worked corporate 9 to 5. He worked real estate sales. That was all. He wasn't home late at night. That transitioning, hardest thing.
Yeah, because you're doing like busy all day long to like drop the kids off at school, and now you're not really busy, right? You can't work in Costa Rica unless you get residency. But then again, like what kind of jobs you do? I feel like a lot of expats, as ourselves, you start businesses because
that is the best way to do it.
that's the best
And
way. You come
have
here, you
the-
start a business.
by registering a corporation.
Yeah.
That's right.
You can use a corporation as your,
Yeah,
shield,
Yeah.
and just pay your taxes and go from there. You know?
and like even when you're working here, you can have a bunch of things on the go. You're not doing one specific thing for 40 hours a week. It's it's always just different. The way that the flow moves during the day, and everything's just different. It's there's no like go from this time to this time. It's
We're
like,
2.5 years in. I'm still struggling.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's not easy. It definitely, for anybody who wants to come here, like I am.
My wife's used to working 40 hours a week,
Yeah.
but I always wonder if she got a job today that she had to work 40 hours a week. I don't know if she'd last too long.
We were discussing that with some friends last night.
Yeah.
That it's not about it, when you mention slow down, it's a recognition of what is the mean to be a human being, and we have to learn about the healthy part of ourselves.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Where we're heading, exploiting ourselves and business.
Yeah, and I feel like, owning a business and doing that kind of thing is good. Back home, again, it's go. Here, even though we stress because we're trying to learn something completely different and we're trying to learn to calm down, like relax, slow down a little bit. I mean, slowing down is stressful when you're not used to it. So that adds some stress on because you always think there's supposed to be something happening or something going where it's not. It's, So I feel like hopefully we get to the point where we're like, okay, this is just how it is. Like, this is just how it is. Like, enjoy it because this is the way life is. I mean,
And also, you're talking about numbers, right? You're describing millions of people in the places where you guys used to live versus a small country in which we're sitting maybe in 500,000 people area.
Yeah.
That means that you don't have that competition. We don't have a particular culture where you have to go to church every Saturday or Sunday, or you don't have to do anything.
Yeah,
the culture itself that isn't required for you to do anything.
where your day is taking you is where you go.
Exactly.
Like, you just like I see
But that-
everybody here, you just go with it.
Exactly. And I like what Kim just said, regarding the journey. It's because, in a sense, you guys are, walking a journey, I mean, it's not, nobody knows destination at this point,
No, we don't. That's for sure.
No, absolutely not.
And, but I can assure you that without discussing, medical terms, you guys are feeling healthy, mentally and physically as a result. Because,
I am. Besides my back, yeah, I have.
well, but that is, don't drive a motorcycle in Costa Rican gravel because you're going to find a dog.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
That means that is part of that experience.
Yeah, Costa Rican dogs are super, super chill. Like, you can be driving down the road on a motorcycle or a bike or whatever. The dogs are just chill. They'll just watch you drive by.
Most. You're saying most dogs.
Yeah. Most dogs that are like from Costa Rica, they're just chill dogs. Like strays that are just around. They don't freak out about nothing. They don't bark.
They live the Pura Vida life.
They live the Pura Vida life. However, like
you have to tell your audience what that Pura Vida concept is all about.
Yeah.
Slow living.
Slow living. Pure life.
Yeah.
I was just saying, I knew that the day I was, so here's the story. I was driving down the road. We were going to one of the properties that we're developing, and I was on my little motorcycle, and I was cruising down the road, and a dog came running out at me, and I didn't want to hit the dog, so I kind of veered over to the side to like not hit the dog, and I tweaked my back, and I've been like for a week and a half or 2 weeks like in pain, but I knew instantly that wasn't a Costa Rican dog. I knew that was like somebody brought that dog here, or it was just like an inside dog that doesn't come outside all the time. Yeah. And sure enough, I messaged the road chat that we had, and it was actually really nice family that owns a hotel there. It was their dog. It was out by accident, and again, it sees the bike and it just goes crazy, right? So just learn those things slowly.
Maybe we need to in another timing to talk about the expat pets, because we do have a lot of those.
A lot of expat pets.
Yeah. Or even bringing dogs here. That could be an episode, because a lot of people that we've met now that the kids go to school with have told us how they get it's not easy. There's a lot of moving parts to bring dogs here from another country. So
yeah, a lot of the groups and stuff that I was in, a lot of the times they'll say like you got to take a private charter to bring your dogs over. Although I've met some people that were flying out of the U.S., and I don't know if they said it was the other day, Alaskan Airlines or something. Like apparently they're like the best. These people said, yeah, we brought our dogs, like huge kennels they had to get. They put them in there, and it's no problem at all. So there's different ways you got to look at it. Different things you can do to bring your dogs over.
But meaning that we have to start promoting adopt a monkey or adopt something. You don't have to.
There's lots of dogs.
Or adopt a dog.
I mean, we have shelters around here that you can just go and.
Oh, there's tons. Well, there's one right here. Like we hear the dogs in the morning.
Right.
Yeah.
That means I understand the love that people have from their pets, and they want their pets with them. But
most people.
There's an abundance of.
Yeah, we've never had a dog. We have our first dog now. We love this thing.
She's a Tika.
Yeah, this is a well, she doesn't act like a Tika though, because she's a house dog. This dog goes crazy anytime she sees anybody. She loves people. We understand now the love for dogs, where it's like if people were going to leave their country and move here, there's no way they're leaving their dogs back home.
No.
Like they're bringing
I not even intend to send that as a proposition.
Yeah, they're taking their pets.
I know.
Yeah.
And I think it's a system now that is trying to make things easier. Anything has to do with disease or has to do with other issues, but not necessarily because you cannot bring your pet.
Yeah. But there is great vets here, I'll tell you that. So
same as healthcare and dental.
Absolutely.
Like, vets are amazing.
Yeah, there's actually, even within our small little town here, there's at least 3 or 4, right? Within
Well,
whatever,
because they know
20
that these
20
people
kilometers.
brought their pets from other countries. You need a system on that.
But there is a few though, and there are the ones we've used. They're fantastic.
Give us some specifics about your life in Canada that has changed versus your life in Costa Rica, despite being busy.
My gosh, I don't even know where to start.
Well,
it is so different in good ways and bad ways. Kenny had a lot of convincing he needed for him to do in order for us to even move here. I am very structured person. I like to plan my moves. Kenny is an extrovert. I'm an introvert, and but he's my husband. I will follow him wherever he wants to take us because I know he will never let us down. He'll do whatever he needs to do. So when he was convincing us as a family
I'm good at
to
sales.
decide,
I'm good at sales.
exactly he's good at sales.
Sold.
Costa Rica sold. I would be on conference calls and he would be like, come watch this video, come watch this YouTube video, and I would be like, I need to finish this call. When I'm done, I'll watch it. So just he would sell Costa Rica to me, and I was like, listen, I work like I've always worked. I've never not worked since I was 12. So him saying, let's go, you got to quit your job, it sounded like everyone would be like, yeah, I'm going to quit my job, but for me it wasn't easy. It was like, what do you mean you want me to quit my job? That's not, So when we transitioned, he says, we'll figure it out. Now we're here almost 3 years in, and we're figuring it out.
Still figuring it out.
Don't get me wrong. I've had many nights where I'd be bawling my eyes out because I'd be like, what are we doing here? We have the kid, and we've had our family meetings, and the kids, we asked the kids before we came, do you guys want to do this? This is what you're going to leave behind, but this is what you're going to gain, going to a new school. Obviously, when we first came, we took a year off. I wasn't working, he wasn't working. Kids were out of school. I tried homeschooling. That didn't last very long.
What a disaster.
But there were so many firsts, jumping off a cliff into the water, going to see a waterfall.
Nature, fauna,
anything.
flora.
School, like
everything.
Yeah, like
there was so many firsts the kids did, so many firsts for us, like horseback riding, things that we have experienced. Now I didn't drive actually for the first while.
It was a long time.
I didn't drive. I wasn't comfortable. I wasn't comfortable being by myself. I wasn't comfortable driving, and even at night, we didn't drive at night together for a long time.
Even I didn't drive at night.
That's right.
We were always, anytime we did something, it was like, hey, sunset's coming.
Sunset,
we gotta be home, right? We didn't want to be out at night. We just didn't know enough to, to say, okay, we're gonna be comfortable enough being out. Now it's a different story.
Yeah, now we're comfortable because we know the areas and things like that. But it was a huge transition, and we're still transitioning. Like my life now and how my mindset is completely different than how I was back in Canada. I was very focused on work, kids, school, that's it. Now I go to the gym, I drop off the kids, I cook different. We were just talking about that.
The cooking.
The way that I cook here is completely different. I used to hate cilantro. Now I love cilantro because everything that's Costa Rican has cilantro in it. Again, we talked about our friend Elia, or you guys touched a little bit about her.
Yeah.
And she taught me how to cook gallo pinto, and gallo pinto's the traditional Costa Rican breakfast, rice and beans
mixed up.
That's right. So, it's been quite the journey.
Oh, that's for sure. It is a
Chicken
journey.
views and that one, right?
It is a journey.
It's been quite the journey, but
from my point of view as a Costa Rican, I have to say that I admire the families that make that journey by introducing themselves to the culture, and that is something that I notice about you guys.
No.
I see you guys making the effort with the Spanish. I see you guys making the effort to get closer to that culture called Costa Rican culture.
Absolutely.
And I feel you're like most Costa Ricans that if they see that, they appreciate that.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's
So
correct.
for everybody watching, if you're thinking about coming to Costa Rica and moving, just learn some Spanish and just try to embed yourself with some local people.
Absolutely. And we still take Spanish lessons now. Like
Yep. I don't.
kids, Kenny speaks
I hang out
broken.
with the guys.
The workers.
Yeah,
That's
just
right.
street Spanish.
street Spanish.
We call it colloquial, but it's okay.
No. I still take lessons. She's actually from the Central Valley, she's from San Ramon, and we've been doing online classes for the last few years. So
Shout out to Chelsea.
Chelsea will get on this podcast.
Yeah,
because she's an amazing teacher. We're doing classes as a family to start, and then the kids have kind of transitioned off because they're learning Spanish in school.
Right.
I'm taking my lessons still myself. But it is. I always ask her certain things that I hear, and there's so many different ways to say
Yes.
certain things in Spanish.
Yes,
You know, if I say like pick up or pick, you know, like
Yeah.
those are certain things that the way you say it in English and Google Translate is not always correct. So people might think they can get by with Google Translate. Yeah. But it's
Yeah,
just
you
the
gotta learn.
attempt to try. You just got to try.
Yeah, in a way, I mean, my personal opinion is that Spanish is, well, they call it romantic language, but yeah, it tends to be a little more emotional. You know, for us, we look like Italians. They move with our hands. We like to touch and hug and kiss. And
You can tell with
Yeah.
the way Mario talks is very,
Suave.
suave.
because that is the Spanish, you know, and that transition to other languages is part of that breaking the culture. You know, you cannot learn Spanish acting Canadian.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it will be a communication language, but not a transitional language. You know, you have to kind of bring some of the
Flavor.
exactly. You have to bring it in,
Yeah.
and probably that is what you just said about some expressions. You
Yeah.
know, that they don't sound the same because you're not adding that emotional aspect into it. you
Yeah.
know?
Well, that's what I always say to Kenny too. I wish, because we know so many local people here, and I always say if I could speak Spanish, we'd be the best of friends, because that's the one thing that I feel that we miss, is that it's hard to connect with somebody who only speaks Spanish or doesn't
Yes.
speak English well, because it's that language barrier. But you were like, oh, you're a lovely person and I would love to talk to you, but it's so hard. So like
Yes.
those kind of things I wish, and that's why we're still practicing our Spanish, because I want to have those conversations.
Yeah, but you're getting there. I see you speaking a lot more to people that maybe you didn't speak to as much before, but
Oh,
now
absolutely.
it's
Like the
getting
guy at the
there.
bank,
Yeah.
the girl at the cash register,
Well,
girl at
yeah.
the fruit stand. I try, and it's funny because when I try and they know clearly that I am not Costa Rican.
Why, you saying you don't look Costa Rican?
Yeah.
We are a totally mixed culture ourselves as a Costa Ricans, even though you can find the Spaniards and you can find here and there different.
I can
other
pass as a Costa
cultures.
Rican.
You definitely.
Yes.
You
It's because he
definitely,
says my.
Well, you see, he's
My-
learning what he doesn't supposed to learn, but
Yeah.
it's okay.
Well,
Yeah,
you
no.
know what? But for me, it's my is like saying bro.
It is.
So I mean,
Yeah, but you've been prohibited to translate English to Spanish when you communicate, because in the way you're communicating that English doesn't translate well in Spanish.
no, I understand. I was actually talking to some guys from Spain the other day on the beach, and I noticed I was saying my a couple of times. I'm like, these guys have no idea what I'm saying.
Exactly.
Like, it's not Spanish. It's just
Yeah.
Costa Rican
It's
slang.
a Costa Rican
That's
slang
correct.
word. Yeah.
That's correct.
That's
They have
right.
no
It's like
idea.
20s. 20s
Yeah,
is
20s.
like, that's cool, right? Acachete.
Cachete.
Means
That
like-
is extreme.
That's extreme.
What is acachete again? It's
Chick
beautiful.
to chick.
Yeah, it means like full, right?
Chick.
Like,
Oh.
Chick to chick.
yeah.
You know, like you're chick to chick.
Acachete.
Acachete.
That is, I don't know where
But
that
it's
comes
used
from.
to like explain or to describe something beautiful, right?
No, it's an emotion.
Hmm.
I mean, with something, again, doesn't have to do with like chick to chick. It's more like embracing a moment.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah,
where-
like I've used it where like,
Something is good. Life is
yes,
Well,
you're
like
having a
even-
great time.
good. Yes.
And
Or
all
even
of a
one-
sudden you show up with, I don't know, a case of beer.
Yeah. I've done it when I go to the house and something new is done in the house and it looks beautiful, and they're like in Spanish, they, hey, how do you like it? Acachete.
Yes,
you know?
Yeah.
yes.
And-
It's a sensation.
And they all laugh because they love hearing gringos use their terms.
Yeah.
Yeah, but remember, Canadians are not gringos.
I know, and I thought everybody that wasn't from Costa, like I literally, this is what I thought. I thought if you're not Costa Rican, you're a gringo.
Really?
Yeah, I thought like if you're, I don't care if you're, what nationality you are. If you're not from Costa Rica, I thought you were a gringo, but apparently it's just Americans.
For many years, since I was a teenager, the concept of gringos were applied to the Americans, but it was not It was not really
against like something bad.
no, it was not. It was just to kind of create a difference culture-wise. You know, like you're a gringo means that you are not from here. You know, but it was applied to the American, North American, USA community because we didn't have that many. I'm talking about 40 years ago. We didn't have that many Canadians coming in. And I noticed that some Canadians from the French side, they don't like to be called like that because they right away identify themselves, you know, even though we're not from here, we are not gringos because, first of all, we're not from USA.
Oh, I always thought I was a gringo.
Well, if you want to be a gringo, go
Yeah,
ahead.
gringo. What about Tico? So I always try to say Costa Rican like when I'm referring to
That's
you know,
right.
a local Costa Rican because there is Tico and Tica.
Yeah, but remember that came is it's like a you know identification of our culture, and the use of the Spanish language. We have a lot of words that we try to maximize with the term tico and tica, poquitico, chiquitico, chiquitica, and that tica at the end of these words are the ones that basically different us from.
Yeah, but isn't that we were talking about that with somebody once, and it was like, isn't that like to say something cute? Like when it's
It is, for
chiquitica, it's
sure.
like, you know,
It is for
perito
sure.
or
Yes,
perita.
exactly.
You know?
It's that emotion to create more depth.
Yeah.
In the way
In
you
your
are.
conversation or
Yes,
whatever.
you know.
But Costa Ricans, do they like to be called ticos or ticas?
Yes,
They do?
It's okay.
Because
They-
I
you
think we
know.
had a conversation with somebody, and not some people find it offensive sometimes. Maybe if you call them a tica.
I mean, this mingling cultural wise, it will depends on how the two individuals or the two groups
that makes sense.
are uniting. You know, you're not gonna go to an event and try to say welcome ticos, you know,
Right.
because first of all, you're in Costa Rica. I mean, whoever is there, tico or not, doesn't want to be reminded they are ticos. You know?
Yeah.
But if you are in a stadium and you see cheering for a team with everybody, and the song goes "Ticos Ole Ole," yeah, everybody is
Oh, so-
basically engaging with the idea that this is the country. These are the citizens of the country.
That's right.
you
Yeah,
know?
I mean, if there's songs saying Tico, Tico's cool.
You know? And remember, I am the worst Costa Rican to talk about the culture, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
Mario's he doesn't speak the slang and like he's like proper.
Well, I left the country when I was 1920, you know, and
Mario's half gringo.
well, no, it was no. The name for, I mean, the real explanation is a tingo.
A tingo?
Yeah, tico gringo.
Tingo.
Yeah, that is the right.
I was gonna call you a Greco.
Well, that could be too. But anyhow, what happened in our lives, similar to you guys, eventually you're evolving, you know, and you're gonna see Canadian friends in 5 years. They will notice that evolution, you know, of you guys being exposed to a new country, a new culture. You know?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like the longer you're here, obviously.
Well, that is what I think happens to me. When I had the opportunity to be in USA, I definitely introduced myself to the culture with the intentions to learn it and make things easier, similar to what you guys are doing here. You know,
Yeah.
that means that you start kind of grabbing pieces of yourself and try to modify them in order to make life easier. You know, I got better jobs, I got better opportunities as a result when people see that you are trying to do the best.
Yeah,
you
definitely.
know. But if you, Kim, if you have to right now describe your experience to a family in Canada,
Yes.
what will be the best approach? I mean, what will be the don't show up, stay home.
You know what? If it's, and I would say it to anybody, because if I were to say, if I would have said, you know, 3 years ago that this is where we would be right now, I wouldn't even believe it. It's like, honestly, and you need someone like a Kenny to push you, because I would probably be in the same job doing the same thing, you know.
Yeah, listen, even when I was looking at those YouTube videos about Costa Rica, like 3 months before we left, I wouldn't picture myself here doing this today. Like, it's so fast. It just happens, and it's, you know.
You make the decision. And again, we knew that we were going to do this as a family, and we're going to figure it out. And we took the chance. We always said, what's worst case scenario?
Yeah,
worst
go
case
home.
scenario, go home.
Yeah.
But you know what? This is home now. So
Yeah.
this is home now, and I'm having deja vu. I feel like I've said this before.
Not in this podcast.
First time I've heard it.
Yeah, that's the first time I heard it.
But I feel like it's definitely been an experience, and you just need to embrace it. But like I said, we hope that this podcast helps people to be prepared. Take Spanish lessons, do your research of the areas, travel around, because everybody has different needs. We wanted to be close to the beach because our son surfs. We wanted to be close to this area because of the school. You know, there's supermarkets super close by. You know, Liberia, the airport is an hour away. So those are things that we considered when we decided to move here. Well, into this area anyways. Because
That's
if
the package.
like if you move down to, say, Santa Teresa, that's a far drive to the airport.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and it's a lot more remote than, you know, this area. But
Yeah.
it's what you do, what you want, you know, what you want out of life. You know, things you will decide based on what you want.
Yeah,
Because
that
there's
is-
options.
That's
Yeah, it is a small country, but like us driving around, like to us, I mean, yeah, we're saying it seems big. We drive to San Jose in 6.5 hours. That's half the distance, like, because then you go to San Jose. If you go down to like Pavones, which is close to the border of Panama, I think from San Jose to Pavones is probably what, 4, maybe 6?
No, more.
Oh, more.
It's different routes that you can take. You know, but for sure, yeah, it's a long drive.
Oh yeah.
And remember, when we say long drive, upside we have kilometers rather than miles. Is because you're putting up with infrastructure, right? I mean, we don't have highways.
Yeah.
That's
like
right.
you
And
guys,
everything's
so-
single lane mostly.
That's
anyway.
another thing my wife wants to talk about.
What?
The roads, the highways. There's not really highways. Like,
But I'm okay with that because I was never comfortable to drive on a highway anyway. But
Yeah.
the only thing is like right now on one lane, people get used to passing. So you have to be so much more aware
Yes.
of passing and motorcycles and turning left and turning right. And
Yeah,
it's
you're
still
right.
nerve-wracking.
But that is a way to also break the traffic law because that's most of the tickets you're going to get.
Yeah.
If you know that the traffic police is just always kind of hidden somewhere
That's
waiting
right.
for that to happen.
That's
they
right.
know exactly what spots people get all in a hurry and times to break the law. Let's cross the line and
Yeah.
bing,
yeah.
you know, you have a big ticket here.
I don't think you guys even messaged that. They have Policia, they have Transito, and they have
GAO.
the GAO,
Yeah.
which is,
Yeah, police.
correct me if I'm wrong, police is more criminal, right? Criminal drugs, kind of what they police. And then Transito is more traffic tickets.
Yeah, Transito is traffic. Transito is full traffic.
Right.
Police.
Yeah.
Right.
They deal with
and
the-
then GAO is what? More like,
GAO is like the special forces kind of.
Look,
that kind of deals with everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, more intense, if we
Yeah.
will, because Costa Rica doesn't have an army, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
That means that we don't have soldiers to tackle some issues, and like any country right now, I mean, we have a lot of infiltration of, crime, if I may say, international crimes, call it drugs, cartels, or whatever, and that as a country being exposed to that, we have to find a way to fight it.
That's right. Oh, they're intimidating.
Oh yeah, they're intimidating. two guys, and they're always on motorcycles,
They're
like
always
dirt
on
bikes,
that's right.
enduros. Always on enduros, and there's two, and like high power rifles.
I was going to say, what is it?
I don't know if they have AR-15s
Yeah.
or what they carry. I never wanted to get close enough to see what they're holding.
That is very smart.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, you guys went for the what do you call the Pura Vida,
Yeah.
you know, beautiful
This
journey.
is the
Now
ugly
you're-
side.
Now you're closing
Yeah.
with a Latin American country dealing with crime and some drugs here and there. You
Yeah.
know, it's
Yeah,
like,
we're gonna get into that too. Like we said, we're talking about the good, the bad, and the beautiful. So
Yeah, and it's mostly beautiful, so
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
not even.
we'll get
something.
into that on some other episodes for sure. You always got to stick around for whatever we're gonna be talking
Yeah.
about. We're gonna fill you up with some information.
Absolutely.
And we're gonna bring guests, right?
Oh,
You
yeah, we're
said,
gonna
Yeah.
bring.
Upside Kim being the number one today.
Yeah.
Mine was just because I know there is wives out there, I'm sure, that are super reserved like me, who might, are kind of just sick of the daily life and want a change. And I was the most hesitant, so if I can do it.
Kim will be a guest host on a few episodes because we're going to have some cool guests. And obviously, she likes to talk to a lot of these people and everything, too, because they are friends of ours. And she's obviously better looking than me and Mario. So it makes sense. It'll keep people coming back.
Thank you. Makes a lot of sense.
Makes a
yeah.
lot of sense.
No, not only that, it's nobody has the truth of this type of experiences. You know,
Yeah.
you have to bring different opinions.
And I can tell you,
Absolutely.
I can always tell you my perspective, but we need a female perspective too as to
Yes.
what they feel,
yes,
making the transition and coming into a place like this, right? Because we do think very different.
Absolutely. And I was just saying, I actually read something today, is that everybody has a unique story. As much as we can say expats kind of live this similar life, everybody has a unique story.
Yeah, everybody's got their own
Everybody
story.
has their own story of how they got here, what they do here, how they get through it all. And we're just sharing ours to maybe, help people, because honestly, it was one of the best decisions we've made. Has it been the easiest? No. Has there been more positives? Absolutely. And we're still learning. We're still we want to do more. We want to explore more of the country because it's beautiful. So I think it's just the beginning.
We're going to keep talking, but for right now, I'm just going to say thanks for coming out to watch episode 2. Join us on the next episode. Anybody has any questions or anything they want to know about Costa Rica, by all means, drop us a line on social media or YouTube or wherever, and we'll get those questions answered. I'm Ken. Thanks for watching episode 2.
I'm Mario. Thank you for being invited. Thank you, Kim.
The Patrona.
Patrona Kim is the guest host.
But you haven't told us what a patrona means.
Wow, you can tell them it's Spanish, right?
Well,
Girl, the lady boss.
yeah, the last word,
Yeah.
the
There
last
you go.
stop.
The final word, the final stop.
Exactly.
Thank you for joining us, baby.
Yeah, thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Thank you, Kim, for being here and for the opportunity again. Thank you, guys.